Hello, everybody. Hopefully this is working. Yeah, welcome to the E-Stim Systems live stream. It's changed a little bit because we had a few technical issues, shall we say, on the last one. So we've tried to do some little bit of jiggery pokery with the audio and hopefully the video, and hopefully everyone can see me. So hello, everybody. Ha-ha! Kren Cooper. Yes, we are definitely alive. Hopefully by the end of this live stream, we'll still be alive afterwards. But it's been a busy week here at E-Stim HQ. You might have seen some of the bits and pieces that we've put out on social media, but yes, we did the mad thing. We had an upgrade of one of our machines, and it went completely wrong. We ended up with having engineers on site for most of last week. Good afternoon, Roy. It's been interesting, and guess what? I'm on holiday next week, so literally after I finish this live stream, I've got to go home and pack and get on a cruise for a week or so. So it's going to be interesting. What's happening in E-Stim world? Well, new machine, we've already mentioned that. We've also been nominated for a Eurofame award, which is quite a shock, really, and quite something someone's... What? There's all these... Oh, sorry, it's not it's XBiz award, not Eurofame. Right. Sorry, XBiz. Why are most people coming here today? Because we're going to have some guests. Does anyone have any idea who the guests are? Do we have any idea who the guests are? Shall we go and find out? Because it could be interesting. Ha ha!
We're back.
They're back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the crew from Joannes Reviews, E-Stim Emporium, and several other websites. Would you like to introduce yourselves? And their answer.
I'm Joanne.
I'm Sabah.
And I'm Ian. I'm not going to say what my normal nickname is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that related to being Stuntcock?
Ian Stuntcock, yeah.
It's not that.
I am that one. Yeah.
You are that one. I hear you have a little secret.
I have lots of little secrets. Which one have you heard?
This is the one that I recently heard about you on social media. The fact that you are going to do your own YouTube channel.
I am in the process of setting up my own YouTube channel. Yeah.
It's not going to be called Stuntcock.
No, YouTube will take exception to that. It'll be called Toothless Nerd, and it will be, again, doing E-Stim reviews, that sort of thing, but more techie and more in-depth. I'm nerdy.
Questions for you, because I've always been fascinated by what you do. It's interesting because you sort of popped up on our radar asking us to do a review of some of our products. And that's how we sort of got to know about you. But you existed before that. So how did you start doing what you do?
Over to you.
Oh, gee, thanks.
No, yeah, I'm just
How many years ago was it?
I'm just the eye candy in the corner.
Well, how far?
How many years?
How far do I go back?
9 years.
Yeah.
About 9 years.
Yeah.
I think we saw an article in the newspaper about someone that started reviewing sex toys. And we thought, we've got some of them.
Yeah. So
let's give it a go.
Yeah. And so she went, yeah, let's do it.
So what was the first sex toy that you reviewed? Can you remember?
Oh, no.
I know what it was.
I was going to say he's got a good memory.
It was a fucking machine and some of the things that went on the front of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm not, well, we can talk about on YouTube, but we'll probably not show it. It was basically we started reviewing the things that we owned. Because that's the way to establish yourself. Yeah. And if you're going to approach companies, you need to have a portfolio of work.
Yes.
So we started off with a kit we had and we used, and then we had a bit of imposter syndrome, where you start doubting yourself and you think, well, are we doing the right thing? Are we good enough on that? And then we saw a tweet, I believe it was, from E-Stim Systems, and we went, what the heck is that?
I remember that bit.
Yeah, and then we started looking and went, oh, that sounds a bit interesting. And I think you got in touch, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think that was probably our response to our own tweet, actually, was what the heck is that? Because it's interesting you talk about imposter syndrome, because we had the same in terms of when we started, particularly when we started doing, we started doing smaller shows. So we started with things like the BBB, LFF, so Birmingham Bazaar, London Alternative Market, London Fetish Fair, and I believe you've done BBB, haven't you?
Yeah, we have.
So we started doing those, and we sort of came across Electrostim actually first, and they weren't really, they were much more known in the main market, so they weren't really doing the sort of fetishy markets that we were doing, but then they sort of popped up every so often. We had a couple of conversations with them which were interesting, shall we say. Sorry, Andy, but yeah, they were interesting at the time. And yeah, we sort of felt, are we doing the right thing? Can we compete? And there was almost an element of, well, we can't compete on the same level. And even these days, we can't compete with, say, Love Honey and that sort of level, purely and simply because they spend more money on advertising than we do on product development. I mean, to us, product development is the most important thing, and creating service for your customers. But the minute you go into, oh, well, let's make the package all pretty, it's like, well, you're wasting money because nobody really cares about the packaging once they bought the product. So yeah, I mean, we went through quite a few elements of imposter syndrome. I remember we went to a store once when we first tried to get into stores, and we talk about having the Dragon's Den moment where it just, they tore us a new arsehole. Excuse my French, because we hadn't a clue as to what to offer a store in terms of pricing. And we learned quite quickly from that. Then sort of moved into an area of, we wanted to be different. And I think that's where you succeed. And certainly when we first came across you and you approached us for, can we have some kit to do reviews? That was the point, that was the thing that appealed to me. You were different. We have so many people these days who approach us and say, oh, can I have some kit? It's almost weekly, if not daily, somebody asks. And you're sort of there and go, well, 95% of the people out there who've reviewed our kit are genuine customers because they've bought the kit and they've done what you've done. They've bought kit and then gone, I'm going to write about this. I'm going to put it on my website. Yeah, there's a few out there who we would provide kit because they've asked for it. And we tend to look at what they've done in the past and go, well, do we like what you've written? And it isn't, do you like what we've written? Oh, it has to be all 100% positive. It's no, do I actually just like what you've written in terms of, does it read English? Is it fun? Is it interesting? Is it giving me stuff that I wouldn't get from just reading the advertising blurb from the company? And that's exactly what you were offering at the time, and you still do. I mean, I still look at what you provide in terms of your YouTube channel and go, right, I'm stealing that idea. Not in terms of product, but not in terms of product, but in terms of style, in terms of the way you interact with customers, because we all know customers are the most important thing out there. None of us would be here if it wasn't for customers. And I'm just looking through the comments going, hello, everybody. Danny Vermeer. Been watching the sofa, still not grown. I'm trying, but
I think we need to apologise for our regulars.
What, for my sofa?
It needs some compost.
Needs some compost. However, I mean, talking about sofas, we liked one of your ideas so much that we thought we'd try our own version of it. Your banana.
The banani, yeah.
Our famous banani.
Now, this you use to indicate size generally, don't you? Because everyone knows what banana's like. There's actually a story behind that, which I did mention, I was going to mention. When we first started, we started to use Coke cans as indications of sizes. And we made the mistake one day of putting a picture out which had a Coke bottle. Within about 2 hours, I had an email from an advertising agency with cease and desist on the top of it. Because everything in the Coke bottle is a copyrighted design, this, that, and the registered design element. So whatever you do, never, ever, 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 ever use a Coke bottle to indicate size, particularly for a sex toy. Because they don't like it.
No, you're a bit touchy.
A bit touchy on that. And we've had discussions with people where they say, well, can you do a 50 pence piece? Because in the UK, we know what 50 pence piece is like. That's great, but we've got lots of friends in the US and Canada and Australia. They haven't a clue what a 50 pence piece is. No. We had a little problem because we wanted a banana. We wanted our own banana. Unfortunately,
they've got a bigger
somebody
banana.
ordered it from Temel again.
Size matters.
So, there's some slight issue with the sizing on here. But we did get one thing right. We have wiggly eyes.
It's his big brother.
It's his big brother.
The good news is we actually have more than one of these. We're going to send one up to you.
We're going to have to put it in the background.
It will go there.
Yeah.
It might cause a few issues with your sizing problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I could strap the saddle to that one.
We're going to
No.
need bigger loops.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot bigger loops.
As someone informed me the other day when they were looking at the triple, is you need to do a bigger one. So you just need to do a bigger saddle, and we've got the banana to match. Are you genuinely saying that it was down to us that you actually got into E-Stim?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We-
It's all
we
your
don't-
fault.
Like a lot of people, we'd never heard of it before. And, you know, you got to get over your first nerves. You know, you taught from a very early age, electricity is dangerous.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you find out, well, actually, if you do it in certain ways with the right kit, it can be done safely and
Which
deliver
was
some
why
amazing
he was
sensations.
the first one that I made try the box.
Hence the nickname, Stunt Cock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made him try it first,
Yeah.
and when I was happy that it was
Yeah.
okay, I tried it.
Then he made me try it.
Yeah.
Although I did have to wrestle the box off of him because he wanted to play with all the buttons,
He did.
Yes.
and I was like,
I like
no.
There's nothing. You can
Yeah.
never have too many buttons. I'm sorry,
No.
just never.
No, but when somebody else is controlling the box, you never know what setting he's going to put on it. So
Now you know how I feel now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, control settings and levels has always been an interesting one. I mean, we've had a few,
Yeah.
shall we say, accidents, which is where some of our instructions come from, where it's like, always turn the box down before you start. How do we know
Yeah,
that?
Yes,
absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, because ouch.
You only do it once.
Yeah, unfortunately, you tend to do it more than once, though, because you just like, oh, yeah, I know. Oh, no. Oh.
Now I remember why I said I'm never going to do that again.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So you went from reviewing boxes, and I'm assuming that once you reviewed us, you sort of approached other companies and expanded into, because you do cover all E-Stim companies that
Yeah.
seem
Yeah.
to be around.
Equal electron employer.
An equal electro employer.
Okay.
So how did you then go into the actually becoming a manufacturer?
Well, we got into 3D printing for other things we were doing
Yeah.
at the time,
Yeah.
vanilla stuff, so to speak.
Yeah, we've certainly kicked that in a touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it somebody asked us?
Yeah, so
For something?
someone asked us to print something out, so we
Yeah.
printed it out and then sent them it, and
Yeah.
then
And we got interested from
we got
there,
into
didn't we?
designing kit, and someone
Yeah.
said, "Can you do this for us?" So we did that for them, and then more and more people started approaching us. Can you make us one of these? Can you
Yeah.
make us one of those? And we thought, well,
That
And then-
sounds so
there's an
familiar.
opportunity here.
Yeah.
And then we started talking and we're going, well, actually,
Yeah.
this is an issue and we can solve that.
Yeah.
So we designed stuff and like, oh, yeah, actually, yeah, we'll sell this. And
And the rest is history.
And the
after
rest is
somebody
history.
trials it,
Yeah, you wanted more torture instruments, didn't you? for
Yeah,
me?
absolutely, yeah.
That's how it started.
So how extensive is how many 3D printers do you have now?
Yes, we named them.
We
yeah.
don't name them; she names them.
I've named two.
Yeah, you have named
I've
two.
managed to name two.
Yeah. If it was up to me, I'd give them numbers,
Go
but
on,
no.
give us the names.
Oh, now you're saying. The first one was Mel,
Mel,
and then Bob. The resin printer's Bob.
yeah,
Kevin.
they're
can
all
say-
minions.
Minions.
I was wondering that.
haven't
I can
got
sort of guess.
And then we've got Melanie, Tigger, Eeyore.
Then we went into Disney.
Yeah.
yeah,
Piglet.
Two piglets.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got deranged piglet.
yeah. We got deranged piglet and
Sexy
regular
Rexy.
piglet.
We've got Rex after Toy Story, Woody, Jessie, Buzz.
Grumpy Grandad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about him.
no.
He's grumpy.
In other words, he just breaks down every 5 minutes.
Thumper
Thumper, Bambi,
and
The other one.
Trixie.
There you go.
and then we've got Draku and Bender.
Yeah.
There you go.
So how many is that in total?
23.
23.
Yeah, but that's not including the resin printers.
That's not including the 2 resin
Yeah,
printers.
That's Bob.
And I take it you're
No, we
not
got
just
2
running this off one
Yeah.
extension lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A short one.
Yeah.
and we generally grill toast over it.
23. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm starting to run out of names now. So
You'll
Well,
never run
just
out
do
of
what we
No.
do, because I mean we've now got the new lathe, and the old lathe was called Ant because the other one was called Deck, and now I think we're just on Ant 2. Do you spend all your
Yeah.
time just running down the row of it? Oh, stops. Oh, I've got to run back to that one. Or
that's my job.
The trick is to actually, when you put the models on the plate, you
Yeah.
organise them with different types of models so they all finish at round about the same time.
Yeah.
So you start all your prints, and then 4 hours later, you're clearing all your beds and
Yeah.
starting your next batch.
Yeah, it's definitely know what takes what time.
Until you get the fastballs that come in and I
Yeah.
want this colour and that colour, and then
And also,
everything goes out the window.
And also having software that you can control all of them.
Yeah,
through
we're
as well.
using some print farm management software now, which makes that a lot easier. A lot less running up and down. We can do a lot of things from a computer and get feedback on what printer's going to finish next and all that sort of stuff.
Ooh.
So everything we do, we try and streamline things. Because
we've been trying that for 20 years. It doesn't work.
Yeah. It doesn't, no, but you keep trying. But as we've got busier and busier, we've had to, because we're it.
Yeah,
you know, there's a limit to the woman power and me available to go round. I've got to say it that way round, or I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, he'll get jabbed by the finger.
Yeah.
So what do you consider your biggest challenges are?
The live streams.
Yeah, the weekly live streams are hard work.
Yeah, I think you're nuts. I'm going to say it again in public. You're mad.
Our biggest challenge is keeping stock on the shelves.
Yeah.
Because we've got so many things now, and printing is a relatively slow process. Manage what's printing and what's on the shelf and what's getting smoothed is difficult. And when you get a wholesale order comes in, that just throws everything out the window.
Yeah.
This sounds so
when Gary
familiar.
from Happy Stim says, I want 157 items, you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
And then you still got to keep our stock stocked up.
That's it.
So
we
it's
don't like letting
keeping
our
things on the
customers
shelves, which is a problem that you might have as well.
Yes, and then we go and produce something like, I mean, initially it was the rings. The rings really killed. I wouldn't say killed. Well, I'm going to say killed us. The rings turned out to be astronomically popular, much more than we expected. We were running overtime. We were just desperately trying to get everything up to date to try and get the stuff out. And then we went mad and went, oh, let's do some triples, which were a completely new design for us. Well, completely new design for everyone. Yeah. And it went a bit mad. And even now, triples are in stock for about 3 minutes before they go back out the door. And we're still making more and more. It's a lovely position to be in, but sometimes you're just like, I need to have a break at some point.
What have I done?
What have I done? And when I turn around to the engineering team and go, oh, by the way, I've got a new design, they're like, you what? Yeah, I'll give you 6 weeks to make these. No.
No.
The problem, I think, these days also is everyone assumes that you're Amazon and everyone assumes that you're just shipping everything in from China. Yeah. So when you explain to people that, no, we actually have to make these, and sometimes we run out of stock because I think we've got 110 SKUs, so 110 different items, and we're manufacturing large numbers of those, and most of it we're manufacturing in-house. So, for instance, a triple, I think there's probably there's about 8 different bits, which probably 15 processes going through several different machines and several different stages. It's not just something you can click a button and it appears. And even with 3D printing, you've still got you've got post-processing afterwards.
It's a ballet.
It's a ballet. And by the time you're doing those today, but somebody else wants those. And we have wholesalers and we have distributors as well, which if you thought the wholesalers were fun, the distributors are even more fun. They're buying numbers that you just like, oh, now am I going to get that out the door? But we work our way through it, and we talk to customers, and we talk to our distributors and wholesalers, and it's getting better because we're constantly refining everything. We're constantly buying buying new machines just to knock off those few seconds of manufacturing time, because it then means we can make more of them in a given amount of time. And it's a never-ending saga.
Yeah, that's how we've ended up with 23
printers. Yeah, it's painting the 7 bridge.
Does lifetime warranty for the 2B account if you buy it from a different store? As long as you are the original purchaser, Dutch guy, lifetime warranty counts. So as long as you've got proof of purchase, you have a lifetime warranty on that. I have the lovely Kaz doing my assistant thing. Actually, I might be able to do it from here. Right.
There you go.
I have had several repairs on my 2B over the last 4 years. It would be nice to know what you've replaced or repaired with the letter that you send back with the 2B. That's an interesting one because it depends on what the repairs are. And the problem we sometimes have is, one, it might be completely meaningless. So if I say that I've replaced TR6, what does TR6 mean to you as a customer? Yeah, it happens to be one of the drive transistors. Sometimes we were replacing things because they're broken. Sometimes we're replacing things because they might be broken or they might be on their way out. Biggest problems of any electronics, and this isn't just 2Bs, it's probably connectors. That's probably the number one source of issues. So if we have a unit that's come back that needs a repair, then we tend to replace certain things. So you might find that your box has had sockets replaced because that's a default thing that we tend to replace. It does depend on what the problem is. Then we get into the whole issue with, actually, we didn't find any problem, which sadly is something that is quite common, because it might not necessarily be the box, it might be the cables. Cables only last 3 to 6 months because there's something that moves, it gets squished. That can cause issues with outputs. Also with the 2B has gone through a number of refinements. I mean, the 2B has been out since 2010. And the 2Bs that you buy now aren't the same as the 2B that you bought, what's that, 12 years ago, 13 years ago? Wow, they've been out that long. Because we've done updates on them. The current 2B, which we would define as being a 14D, has a number of things that have changed internally. One, to make it easier for us to manufacture, because it's that element of constantly trying to improve things, but also trying to make it more robust. And now if you've got older boxes, we actually have some little extra bits that we'll put into the box. If it's failed, if an older box has failed, we'll upgrade it effectively to the latest spec. Kren, I'd guess that sometimes it's cheaper, easier to do things like change connectors and common parts than actually test. Compare the tech times test costs, regardless of their state. We always test every single unit. Firstly, we test every single unit multiple times when it goes out. So we're testing at board level, we're testing during the assembly process, we then do a final test. Every single unit that leaves E-Stim Systems is tested. Unfortunately, they then go through this process of extra testing called the post office or shipping, and they get thrown around. We see some of the packages that come out of this process, and things do break, unfortunately. And if they break when they get to you, we will do our best to solve that. Sometimes they'll break during use because, let's face it, electronics, I've got 3 cameras in here. One of them has failed. It's the nature of electronics. We will always go through the same test process. So we'll get a report back from the customer. This is the customer has said this is what's wrong with it. And we'll discuss with the customer to see if it is something that we need to repair or whether it's something that needs to come back to us. We test everything, and we'll test it as part of the process to build it. We'll test it when it comes into us as a repair. We'll test it as part of the repair, and then we do a final test. Because hopefully then we get to send it back out to you and you are happy that you've received a repaired item. And this is one of the things. We offer a lifetime guarantee. And that genuinely means that for the existence of this business, we will repair those items for you. It would be pointless if we're just going to send it back and go, nah, we didn't bother. And unfortunately, some people think that's what we do. But it's like, no, we actually will sit down with oscilloscopes, with power supplies, and try and work out what the problem is. We had one gentleman who managed to drive over a box. And I still haven't worked out how he actually did it, but he was honest and said, no, I actually drove over the box, which was really, really entertaining. But yeah, Danny, Post does not have respect for mail. No, we
can agree with that.
We have that so many times. Anyway, I'm going back to my little Q&A questions for Joanne and co.
No.
Yes.
More questions, guys.
Because this is not supposed to be all about me. This was sort of trying to bring in some interest that isn't just me sitting here going, buy my product. Yes, buy my new product. So, okay, things that we wouldn't necessarily know about you. So what secrets do you have that people tell me something that we don't know?
Did you know this was coming?
No.
How would I know this was coming?
No, my background was forces. Before I came to this, I served 23 and a half years. From leaving school, joined up, went all around the world, did all sorts of different things in different countries and different actions, and
Dragged me to a few of them.
Yeah.
dragged you around the world as well with some of them, and then retired, and then it started getting kinky.
Very kinky.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Well, it was boring to begin with.
It was very boring to begin with, yeah.
And then
I'm concerned it only became kinky afterwards.
Well, no, the kink came to the surface. The kink was already there,
Yeah.
as you know. But yeah, and then we got into doing reviewing and this side of things, which is chalk and cheese to what I'd done from the previous 23 and a half years.
Yeah.
But it's a lot
Slightly
more
different.
fun.
It's a lot more interesting,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. What about you? On the end there, quiet one.
What, me?
Yeah.
Well, I actually went to college and qualified as a hairdresser and a beauty therapist. So it's like completely opposite
I'm sorted.
of
I was just thinking that I need a haircut as well.
So
Yeah.
then I met Stuntcock. And
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
And we've only just untied her.
So
You mean say you leave it tied up?
She enjoys it. She loves it.
She loves it. She loves it.
So how long have you been going as a business now?
9 years?
9 years.
No, because you've been with us 8.
Yeah.
So it must be at least 9, maybe 10 years.
So what would you have done differently?
Invested in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Right at the beginning.
I think I'd probably agree with that one actually. Roy Hatt says at least the goldfish is not homeless this time.
It probably still is.
Yeah.
The last 10 years, we've evolved in what we do and how we do things, and
Yeah.
we've had a blast along the way. It's
We have.
been a lot of fun,
A lot of
pulling your hair out,
A lot of hard work.
a lot
Yeah.
of hard work, but generally it's been more highs than lows. So we've really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I think if we could do anything different, it was getting to E-Stim earlier.
and maybe keeping our mouths shut when we're not quite ready to release a product.
Yeah.
Is that like a certain company?
I'm like, 3 years and counting.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think we decided quite early on actually is we don't say anything about new stuff coming on. Well, I'm going to be honest, we do to people that we trust, but we generally don't, because that's part of our sort of testing process as well, because we want feedback from people who are not necessarily within the company or within the world of E-Stim Systems.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, we provided you with something and you turn around and go, it's really rubbish.
I didn't think you were going to mention that one.
Yeah, let's not talk about the failures. In fact, most of the failures that we've had as products have never actually reached the market. Fundamentally, if we don't like them ourselves, then we're not going to try and produce them. But equally, we've sort of provided kit to our test team because we have like a hierarchy. So we have ourselves, and then we have test team, and then we have sort of people that we know as friends. And when they go around, really don't like that one. It's like, right, where's get me pen out and me pad and it starts scribbling.
Start again.
And, come up with new ideas. I mean, we look at what everyone's doing and go, oh, I could do that, but I could do it better, because that's the key here. There's that element of, there are people out there who will just copy stuff. And we've had at least 2 or 3 electrodes blatantly copied. And we spoke to an individual in the US who is selling one of that style of electrode, shall we say, and basically said, it's a blatant copy of our product. And they then came out with a whole new spiel of how they developed it. And it's like, well, that doesn't match the person who actually developed the product, what they were saying on Discord. Yeah, whatever. Fine.
Yeah.
We'll remember this. But no, I mean, we're constantly looking at what we do and what other people do and sort of go, actually, that's a great idea. And then can we buy it and can we sell it?
Going on that topic, the last 2 things that you have come out with have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The electro rings and the triples.
Both the electro rings and the triples have been around in design for several years, because one of the things we can't do is just and I think you're finding it is you can't constantly just bring out new stuff all the time, because people are like, when you just bought the last thing and you've brought something new. And you have to do that element of actually you've got to build the things as well. So I think we've been lucky, touch wood. But it's also the fact that we're talking to people all the time. So the rings, for instance, we've gone through, I think, about at least 3 different ring designs, which could have appeared in the past, but we didn't like them. They didn't work for us. So when you get to the stage where actually you're finding something that actually I'm beginning to like this, it's almost that case of, if you're proud of the product and you feel genuinely that this is a good idea, and I think that works for most businesses, if you genuinely feel comfortable with what you've done and go, that's the new product, then yeah, you've probably got a good product there if you've genuinely sort of worked your way through that process. If you're just sitting there going, oh, well, I can make 1,000 of those and how much money am I going to make off it? That's probably not going to end up being a product that actually really works unless you're really, really lucky. We have seen businesses do that and they continue to do that. Personally, I only like to use the 2B on mains power rather than battery. Have you considered a rechargeable box? We have considered rechargeable batteries for quite a while. Several issues with rechargeable. Firstly, shipping anything through the post that's using rechargeable, these days lithium polymer, lithium ion batteries, is a nightmare because a lot of the couriers just don't like them. It's an issue because suddenly they turn around and go, oh, by the way, the postage is going to cost you an arm and a leg more. You could ship them and not tell them, and then they ban you, which is not a great idea.
Yeah, then you get caught.
Yeah.
I'm also concerned with the longevity issues with them because, again, we're producing boxes that we offer a lifetime guarantee, but I can't guarantee that that battery is going to last anywhere close to what I would like it to last unless we're going to spend stupid amounts of money on the batteries. And the biggest issue is this recharging element. Is we play, oh, it's brilliant, oh, getting there, closer, oh, it's gone flat. Quick, get the PP3, stick it in. Right, we can carry on. Otherwise, you're going to be in that situation where, oh, yeah, great. And now I've got to wait 2 hours, 3 hours maybe for it to recharge. It just doesn't work for us at the moment. It is something we're looking at, and there's some interesting new technologies floating around. There's some new ideas. But at the moment, it's not something we do. We have some registered designs, but the problem with any product, firstly, if you go into patents, then that gets very, very expensive. If you go into registered designs, that's only going to protect you in certain areas. So realistically, if you're going to try and protect a product, you're going to end up spending more money protecting it than you would ever do selling it. So you tend to try and come up with ideas that are sufficiently good that people want to buy it from you because you actually designed it and you invented it, as opposed to going and buying a cheap copy. We all know that companies will sell cheap copies. Temmel. I have a thing about Temmel these days. But yeah, fundamentally, they're copies. And if you want to support companies and you want the products that you're buying to continue, then you need to be supporting the companies that are actually producing them, not the companies that are copying them. And the 2B is not an ET312 and has never been a 312.
But it has 2 in the name.
That's as close as it gets.
The number of people I have conversations with. In fact, I'm going to do a video about why the 2B is not a 312. It's like, he doesn't do the same as a 312. No, it doesn't, because it was never designed as a 312. Yeah, we didn't copy the 312. We never wanted to copy the 312. We didn't copy the 312. Advice for new businesses. So if someone's coming into the fetish area and they've got this wild business idea, what would your advice be?
Research.
Yeah. Get as much information, learn the market, try and find people that have attempted something similar. Did they succeed? Did they fail?
Get to know your customer.
And that's the big thing. Speak to not necessarily your close family, because they might paint a rosy picture on things. But
Others.
Speak to some people that are not exactly in your close family circle and get some information from the feedback. Yeah, because a lot of time people speak to friends and family and, oh, it's great. Yeah, you should run with that. Absolutely brilliant. And then you only end up selling them to friends and family because they feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
But it is hard, but research is a thing.
I must admit, us trying to sell our products to friends and family could certainly be an interesting, especially with some of my family.
That would be a definitely interesting conversation.
Oh, yeah. Definitely an interesting conversation. Okay, I'm gonna. This is a double-ended question as well. So the first question is, what's your favourite power box?
The 2B.
I'm supposed to say that. Is mine, yes.
It's his.
I love the 2B.
The Pebble is mine.
Yeah.
And
I like the remote.
The remote is fun.
Okay.
But she generally, she's on the receiving end.
Yeah. I like the Pebble as well.
Okay, so the double-ended question now is, what's your favourite box if you weren't allowed to choose an E-Stim Systems box?
If I wasn't allowed to choose...
So out of every other box on the market that you know about,
right?
What's your favourite?
Just trying to think what else.
Well, for me, it would probably be the Axis, simply because of the features in it. Although
the
flicks are fun.
Mm.
They're all right, but they're a little bit basic.
Yeah.
You like the Micro 312, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. And yeah, the Micro 312 is a nice compact box. We've got one of those, but for me, it's still a 2B. Can't tell me otherwise. Is that check in the post?
That's still an E-Stim Systems.
Checking the post to them.
Yeah.
We play mainly
hopefully
E-Stim
checks in the post,
Systems
boxes. I mean, we do have other boxes.
Yeah.
It's just we prefer yours.
I think we've got 13 boxes now.
Yeah.
We've reviewed for Electrostim. We've got the 312. We've got the Coyote 3 sat in the box behind us. We've got the Coyote 2.
Yeah.
It's all right. I wouldn't recommend it for beginners. It's a little bit complicated. But we tend to play with your kit. Because we just like it. It does what we want it to do.
Yeah, it's just so easy to use.
And it's got knobs.
Yeah, and
it's got
we
knobs.
love the fact that you don't have rechargeable batteries.
Yes.
I had to use me special buttons then.
Being close and having to recharge your
battery.
So that check is in the post, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Rechargeable is on the cards. It is something we're looking at. I think it's a case of we need to find, because we don't just do, let's take a 2B and stick a rechargeable battery in it. It would be a case of let's create something that is different. Let's create something that works. So if you want that rechargeable aspect, what else can we bring into that is going to give you more? I mean, you've got things like the Coyote, which have taken certain ideas and run with them. And then you look at it and go, why did you do it that way, though? I mean, this whole concept of using a mobile phone for control is a great idea until you actually go and play with it and you realise that I've just put my £1,000 mobile phone into a puddle of goo. And I can't get it to do anything now. And she's screaming, saying, turn it down, turn it down. It's like, I'm trying, but the touch screen's not working anymore.
You're dropping it because your hands are all lubed up.
Yeah.
When does the beta become standard? Good question. It's on my list, actually. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. We are planning 2.128, which is basically 2.127 with one minor change. Basically, we're flipping a couple of the maps over, which is probably going to be sometime, I'm going to say possibly in October, but I'm not going to commit to that purely simply because I hate committing to timescales. There's so many other things going on at the moment. 2.127 at the moment is the best beta we have. It's unbelievably stable, actually. I think on virtually all of the boxes that I'm playing with is using the current beta. I love it. I wish I'd created the 2B with it, that beta in the first place. But like everything, things sort of evolve through that process. Problem also with the 2B is there's at least 2 or 3 new ideas that I've come up with since that beta that I want to put into later betas, but I haven't sort of got round to it because it's like I need to get something finished. And at the moment, we've been playing around with rings, triples, and possibly something else coming up soon, which I'm not going to say anything about. But we do have a show. September, we are in Europe going to Eurofame, which is another big trade show. And we do have a habit when we go to trade shows of possibly coming up with new ideas. What's your favourite electrodes? Oh, no, I'm going to change that. What's your favourite electrodes out of your own products?
Well, I'm going to start out of our own products. The new saddle is rather nice, and the Jet Set Woolly.
Yeah, we can't really say the same for that, can we?
No.
Not really.
We don't have the right anatomy for that.
Yeah, wrong equipment.
I would say ours is our shield.
I was going to say it's the Pussy Shield. And
the mini
shield,
or Olaf, in a special colour scheme, because he does look like a certain snowman.
So
I actually have one that looks like Olaf.
Yeah, we printed a special one off just for
complete with little red nose.
Yeah. Orange.
That's I'm just trying to work out what an electrode called Olaf looks like. I'm quite concerned about that aspect.
But you'll see it and you go, oh yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So do you have anything on the cards planned for?
We've got lots of things in the pipeline.
That's the problem. We've got too many things in the pipeline.
That is the problem.
It's narrowing it down to what we're going to do next.
When you're a little company and you've only got a little bit of spare time and a little bit of spare funds, it's trying to nudge things in the right direction can be quite difficult. So we have 2 or 3 designs in the pipeline, nothing that's ready to really show off yet. But we've always got things on the back burner, simmering away.
Yeah.
Sounds like us.
It's hard to bring things to market. It takes so long. I mean, for us, 3D printing kit, it's quite a quick turnaround time in each iteration of a design. So we'll print it and we'll go, yeah, that needs tweaking.
Yeah,
and a few hours later, you've got the next one. But now we're starting to do stainless steel kit that we're having made externally.
Yeah.
The timeline just grows exponentially.
As well as the cost.
And the cost goes up, yeah.
We sometimes do 3D printing to get an idea of sizing, but actually for us, because we've got the CNC machines in the workshop, it's most of the time it's actually quicker to run it through the CNC machine, apart from sometimes the setups take a bit longer. The latest item that I've been playing around with, I think took me something like 24 hours to print, when it doesn't take 24 hours to put through CNC machines, because it's quicker, but the setup time's higher, so I can't just put an SD card in and press the button. I've actually got to make sure we've got the right tooling, the right setups, configure all the tooling, then run it as a test, run it as we run it simulation, then we'll run it on the machine in simulation, then we'll run it in the air, so we'll run it away from anything that's going to get cut, and then just go through that process. So rather than sort of 24 hours, it probably takes 3 or 4, and you've then got somebody that's like, yeah, no, it's wrong, I need to change that. And let's go back to the model and change the things again. Roy, thanks, now got a mental image of stunt cock singing "Let It Snow" and stimming.
I change the words to "Let It Blow."
Well, that's
you do not want to hear me singing.
No, you don't. No,
it certainly puts new ideas into stereo stimming.
Definitely.
What else do I have on my little list? Because time is ticking, and we've still got 7 people out there who are mad enough to actually watch us talking about life, the universe, and everything. So, what would your advice be to new E-Stim users?
Buy everything from us.
Do your research. Do your homework.
Yeah.
And take it slow. Take it steady.
Don't complicate things.
Yeah.
And make sure you got plenty of lube. And you check your equipment.
Yes, and ask lots of questions if you need to.
You see a lot of posts on Reddit and Discord, people that are new.
He said Reddit.
Tri-phase and 4 channel boxes and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Start with 1 channel and start with some very simple electrodes and experiment with those and learn how to interpret your body's reaction to it, because we all interpret it differently, and there can be an education phase where you've got to train your brain to understand these new sensations. And if you're using 2 channels or 4 electrodes, you're making it really difficult for yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Keep a diary as well.
Yeah.
Just write some little notes.
So what works and doesn't work.
I'm using 2 pads in this location on this program, tick or cross. And then you're doing it 3 weeks later, you're not going to repeat the same mistakes. And you can use that to zone in on what works for you. And once you've found that happy spot, then start to use multiple electrodes and 2 channels, 4 boxes and all the rest of it. But start simple. Yeah, keep it simple.
And don't be put off if someone says, well, it works for me doing this.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work for you.
That is so true. Having done this having sold the kit and designed the kit for the last 20 years and played with it for probably 30 plus, the number of people who seem to get disheartened because they don't get exactly the same, or they don't appear to get the same stimulation that somebody else does. And that's before they start to look at various YouTube videos, or not YouTube videos, OnlyFans, etc., where they see someone who's almost got, I've got an electrode this big, and they're having 15 orgasms one after another. And it's like that probably isn't actually occurring, but people need to experiment and need to realize that this is a completely new sensation. I mean, this is not a vibrator. It's going to be different depending on who you are, how you're using the electrodes, where you're using the electrodes, how much have you had to drink today. And that's not alcohol drink, that's just hydration. What mood you're in. Life is different all the time, and E-Stim is exactly the same. And that's why it's so wonderful, because you never know what you're going to get. Hopefully you know what you're going to get. You want to get that climax at the end. For me personally, a lot of it is the journey. It's not the end bit is the end. It's like, that's it.
Yeah,
I was going to say exactly the same. Journey. Focus on the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, and realize that what you find works for you is going to be different to somebody else, and that is so critical.
That's the key.
That's the key. Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm reading some of the comments that people have made, and they're brilliant comments. It's don't buy everything you see. This is David Roberts. Don't buy everything you see. Just start with a few electrodes. Danny, every time is different, and I completely agree. It is. I'd love to say to someone,
buzz.
I need to have buzz in my little box of tricks here.
You've got to do that. We've got whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Registered.
Registered,
Whoop, whoop.
yeah. I've got my pen writing that idea down. We're all going to have competitions as to who's got the best buzz.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love people come to us and say, well, what should I buy? What should I start with? And yeah, I'd love to say, well, you could buy all of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And buy a 2B. And the answer is no. Firstly, have you ever actually tried to play with E-Stim before? And if they've never tried E-Stim, the answer is either look at something like a Helix, or if you're sort of humming and hawing, then go and buy yourself a cheap TENS unit from Boots or Tesco's or somewhere. They're like 30 quid. It's not going to be as good as a Helix or a Pebble or an Axis or whatever, but it's going to give you some idea as to whether you like that initial sensation. Because we have had people, and we all know people, the minute you say it's electricity, they're like, oh, that's it. I can't touch that. I'm not going near it. And you can try educating them as to, actually, it's not as painful. It's a sensation. But some people just like, no, don't like it. And I respect that, and I'm quite happy to have people say that to me. I'd much rather someone say, no, just don't like it, because I want people to be happy. I'm in the business of making people happy, or at least trying to, because if I've got happy customers, my life is so much easier, so much much more fun chatting to people about what we've done well than listening to people telling us how rubbish we are and how much we've cocked up and this, that, and the other. I'm really sorry. Okay, but unfortunately, I don't control how the UPS driver put the box through your window or something like that. Kren, buy cheap, buy twice, learn the difference between overpriced and well-engineered and supported and made in third world sweatshop to minimum specs. Yep, I completely agree with most of the industry does seem to manufacture in the Far East, which is understandable to a certain extent because it's cheap, but you lose control over it. That's something that applies to all the fetchers, beaters and marketplaces, even carpet rollers wrapped in black tape. Seen that. I think for us, I think it was canes when they would buy canes from the local garden shop and stick them on their stand at Lamb or BBB or somewhere. And they'd be like £30 for a cane. It's like, you haven't even steamed the end over, so it's not even a crook handle. It's just a cane, and you pick it up and go, it's still got the B&Q price on it.
Your run of beans.
It's like there's no quality there. And then you come across some companies that the wood has been aged over the last 25 years. It's like, this thing is genuinely good. And that's where we got into the whole industry. I mean, we were BDSM players, for want of a better word, before we did E-Stim. We had a private life, which then became public because it was what we did, because we used to turn up to events and parties and things like that, because that's how we played and it was fun. In fact, that was the biggest problem, actually. We started E-Stim Systems, and you'd find yourself over a spanking bench, enjoying yourself, zoning out in subspace, and then somebody would be like, can I place an order? It's like, no, go away. And that happened a few times. And my wife got rather, well, she was my girlfriend at the time. Kaz is my wife now. My lovely darling wife who's hiding over there. And it was quite irritating. It was like, look, can I just finish the spanking session or whatever was going on and deal with your order tomorrow, please? But people forget that that's how a lot of us started, and this is effectively our life. This allows us to do what we do now. So it's wonderful, the fact that we've got so many companies like yourselves, and I'd say like us as well, but I've been doing it for a while. But to have new companies coming along who seem to have the same ethos of trying to create things that are good at a reasonable price and then back it up with decent service and advice. I think that's where the future lies. We're all seeing the Amazons of this world, and everything's going AI, and you can now create AI porn and all that. But at the end of the day, you're still not going to beat someone who's actually created something that is designed to do what it does well and give you that extra element of the service and the advice. Well, let's just say it works for us, and I think it certainly works for you.
It's working for us,
But I would like to say how much, one, I've enjoyed this today, because this has been fantastic, and I've actually got an hour live stream without actually having to do any work apart from just talk. It's brilliant. I actually look at what you're doing and think, it's fantastic. Yeah, I am going to steal all your good ideas. I'm not going to steal your product ideas. Product ideas always give us other ideas. So it's that sort of constant, oh, that's a good idea. But I love what you guys do. So please keep doing it and do more of it. I mean, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? This is an interview question I used to ask people who were joining the company.
Well, hopefully in a much bigger workspace.
Bigger workspace. To the moment, we're in 2 areas. We've got 2 separate buildings, and that creates logistical problems.
Yeah.
So consolidating that into one, being more efficient, and being able to have a little bit of more time off, because we run flat out all
We're
the
working
time.
7 days a week, aren't we, at the moment?
But that's one of the things when you're a small company, a little family business, you've got to grow slowly, and then hopefully things will work out and blossom out in the future. But more importantly, in 5 years, we hope to still be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
And growing more of your products.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not going to complain about that one.
And no doubt we'll have a lot more printers.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
hell of a lot more printers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not one of those things that sort of you can buy bigger ones and they work faster. You've still physically got to print one item at a time.
Yeah.
You need to scale, number of machines, really. I mean, there are faster machines on the market, but faster machines need more maintenance. They tend to wear out quicker.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off with, you look at the same with the CNC machines. You've got to look at all the factors before you hit the bottom. But yeah, the big thing with us is just to keep the community happy, keep coming out with good kit, and keep enjoying ourselves, because life's for living.
I completely agree, and hopefully the community out there agrees. Because let's face it, without the community, we wouldn't be here.
That's absolutely, yeah.
Well, the community might say life's for stimming.
Life is for stimming, yep.
Life is for stimming, yeah. I like that as a logo.
Electrons flow.
Yeah, definitely.
I think our new T-shirts coming. Life is for stimming.
We need to do T-shirts. I have sex with electrons.
Yeah.
Again, we've got badges. We need to do something like that. You two will love that.
I have sex with electrons.
We'll definitely be putting the naughty corner for that one. Away up.
Again.
What's he found?
I got the
yes.
E-Stim Cups. Danger contents may cause instant pleasure. It has been fantastic. I love doing this live stream. So I'd like to thank you all for putting up with me and doing this after you managed to do one yesterday as well. So
Yeah.
Well, from our perspective, it's been an honour to be the first guest.
Yeah.
In fact, be the first guest on any podcast ever.
Yeah.
We've never done this before. So for us, it's been a big learning process and an honour.
Yeah.
Yes,
really.
it is.
Octal probe. You spent rectal wrong.
2032. Stonecock is now an army of robot arms controlling 9,000 printers.
Yeah, thank you for all our regulars for turning up for this as well.
Yeah.
You're anything but entertaining.
You're also very interesting.
And we didn't need any any popcorn on this one. Mike P374 says, how often do you do a live stream? Well, we, as in E-Stim Systems, we do a live stream now on the last Sunday of the month. However, Jo and her team do a live stream every week on a Saturday at...
Saturday at 5 BST, yeah.
Roughly 5.
Roughly
Yeah, 5-ish.
If you're there for 5 o'clock and you've got a cup of coffee, then by the time you've drunk half of it, it'll be started.
Or it's cold, we're there.
We'll get to you. We'll get to you eventually.
Yeah, we have a blast doing it. It's hard work, but a lot of fun.
It is, and this has been a lot of fun. And thank you for putting up with me. And thank you for being the first guest. And yeah, we were a little bit sneaky because let's choose someone who we know they can talk for an hour about E-Stim. It's when I start asking the more interesting guests. Do you think Andy from Electrostim will come on?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
That could be an interesting one. If anyone else is out there who would like to talk about their experiences with E-Stim, if you're just a user, you don't have to be a manufacturer, then drop us a PM or an email or something. I'll talk to anyone, because I think this is the more interesting side of doing live streams, rather than just me trying to sell you something and tell you how wonderful this next incantation of the 2B's beta is. I do that anyway during the normal videos on the channel, but the live streams, they're live. It gets more interesting. And to prove they're live, and I'm quite proud of this, we now have the behind the scenes. So this is actually what it looks like when it's not pretty. So I'm going to go back to the normal view.
SpaceX rocket factory.
That's the SpaceX rocket factory. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, I'd like to thank you. I'd certainly like to thank Joanne and her team for being here tonight.
The crew. And
I thank you everyone who's watched, posted. Competition keeps you on your toes. Yes, David, it certainly does, and it's fun. But anyway, thank you everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, which should be, I think it's, what's the day? Anyway, it's the last Sunday of September, and see you there. Bye.
Bye.
The stream has now ended.
Victory!
Yay!
Oh,
Huzzah!
at the stage, there we are.
That was fun.
I'm knackered.